It's just a lot of bad football, beating ourselves, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And we've got to protect the ball, and we got to score more. We got to sustain drives. We got to, our defense played terrific yesterday, honestly, for the situations we put them in. We just got to take ownership on offense.
It's not easy, but how do you take care of turnovers? You know what I mean? A lot of it can happen. It's guys like Ramondre who's given everything he has 1 week, and he's doing everything he can to help the team win, and he has had that happen.
Yeah, I mean, Madre is a tremendous player. He's made a lot of plays for us, and I know he's the first one that would tell you that we all gotta hold on to the ball. I mean, it starts with all of us. We've got to block better so that guys aren't maybe getting in there and causing those things. But I think it's just being super self-conscious of the ball and being extra conscious of it, because we just can't put it in harm's way.
Hunter, you've turned over 50%, more than 50% of the roster. There's a lot of rookies and second-year players on the team. This is sort of another example of because it's hard to win in this league and you have to learn how to do that. It just doesn't happen naturally.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to win in this league. It's very hard to win in this league when you have 5 turnovers. Let alone just one. It's very, very hard. So just can't give things away. You got to give credit to them too. I mean, they played really hard, and were able to strip the balls out, make some plays, fly around. So you got to give credit to their defense as well.
Foxborough Rush coming at you on a Wednesday. The Patriots looking to move on and hold on to the ball in doing so when they take on the Carolina Panthers come Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock kick from Foxborough. Still trying to find that first home win of the season, AB. It has been elusive. Annabelle Hasselbeck, Jade McCarthy with you here on Foxborough Rush. You heard Hunter Henry. It's tough to win with 5 turnovers. Let me correct myself. It's tough to win with 1 turnover in this league. And that's the reality. I think so much emphasis, obviously, on ball security this week for the New England Patriots, and just trying to do what Mike Vrabel has talked so much about, which is take advantage of playing teams that don't play good football. The Patriots have to, quite honestly, become a team that plays good football, because that's certainly not the product that they put on the field last Sunday.
It's not, and it's not the identity that Vrabel has spoken about this team being about, the fundamentals, ball security, right? Like cherishing the ball. And you earlier, Hunter Henry, talked about how it was really a missed golden opportunity that they had. Like the Patriots outplayed the Steelers that weekend. Like they really did. And you wouldn't know if you didn't know that they had 5 turnovers. So yeah, you got to take care of the ball. And I think what stuck out to me is just the ownership that the entire team is taking. They're not all putting it on Ramondre. Yes, he had 2 of those, but it's really the whole team. And you hear him talking about, hey, we got to block better for him. So really clear of how Vrabel is communicating this to the team, but definitely has to be better. And you can't win in this league with 5 turnovers, let alone 1.
Yeah. The fact that they were in this game, I mean, we talked a bit about this, of course, but the fact that you are making the mistakes that the Patriots made against the Steelers, not once, not twice, not 3, not 4, but 5 times, and then you have a chance to win this game, that speaks volumes to me about the Steelers as well. The Patriots had no business being in this game, given the sloppy football that they played through parts of it. And we've talked about this, right? Like games can come down to 1 play, 2 plays. And that's not to say that you hang your hat on one thing that you do well or one thing that you don't do well, because you have to collectively look at the entire 60 minutes of football out there. But that said, it just underscores the importance of each and every play within like those 4 quarters, because you can't afford to give away 1 or 2 or 3 or take them off. I mean, you literally have to play every single down to the best ability and execute on it.
Definitely. And you even think about, too, what happens with the turnover. It's not just the other team gets the ball. It's a huge momentum shift, right? So that's why, like you're saying, it is so surprising that the Steelers made it as close of a game that it was. I think the Patriots can take light in how they did dominate in other areas of the game. But what did those turnovers do? They really just erase all the good, right? Not only for what you've already done, but it just puts a dagger in your team offensively and around what the defense is doing and carrying your team through, and you really need that cohesiveness in your team to be able to win.
Yeah, you do, especially on a team like this, right? And you heard Hunter Henry asked about, the roster on this team and how much turnover there has been, obviously, with a new regime coming in, and Mike Vrabel has not held back on making changes on this team. And we have certainly seen that. We've seen the other side of it, right? With, Jabril Peppers coming in and having an impact for his new team in the Pittsburgh Steelers just a few days ago here in New England. So when you have a new team and you're looking to gel and you're looking to build cohesiveness and togetherness and all the things that, quite honestly, any team needs in this league to find success, the turnovers feel like they hurt you even more because all of a sudden it's like every block that you stack upon one, they just knock you back down so quickly, AB. Like you said, it just becomes a huge momentum swing.
Yeah, and I think that's why you're seeing Vrabel not single out anyone like Ramondre the way that he is. He is really protecting Ramondre, at least in front of the public and to the media. And he's really putting the ownership on his team. And like you said, with a team that is new and it's their first year playing together as a group, you do need to be able to have that teamwork and people who are willing to be unselfish and take ownership together. And at some point too, like Vrabel wasn't here for Ramondre's season last year. So in a way, like you see what he did. He got rid of captains. He got rid of starters. He's really having a clean slate with people from last season. So I think like what you're saying with this new team, this new regime, everything is starting from ground zero. And when you don't have to, when you do have good performances of running the ball, scoring, converting on certain fourth downs. Like there were really good things in that game. He's definitely not trying to diminish all of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are the things that you have to find ways to build upon. And, I mentioned this the other day, but obviously there was a lot of positives to take out of Drake May's game. And yes, there were clearly some negatives as well. But you have to look at what he was also able to do as a whole. And even Vrabel talked about this. There are things that they want their quarterback to build off of. And look, I mean, in the early going of the game, he really went out there and showed what he could do against Miami the Sunday before, and we have to all remember that again, he is young in this league, and this is going to be a learning curve for him. And it's not all of a sudden just going to go, oh, I had this game in Miami, and the arc looks like this, and we're just going to keep going this way. Like, no, that's just not the reality of being a young quarterback in the National Football League, particularly in your first year in a new system, and it's Josh McDaniels' system. So you have to expect that you're going to get some of this, and then maybe a little bit of this, and then maybe a little this, and then back up again, right? But look, I mean, 100+ passer rating for back-to-back games for Drake May, the first time that he's done that in his career. So you look at just that alone, and you look at the fact that he's completing over 72% of his passes, right? That's second in the National Football League behind only Jared Goff. So there are positives that you have to take from this and what you're seeing with your quarterback. I think you have to couple it with the fact that the run game helps him. We did not see that take effect against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that doesn't mean that they can get away from it, right? Because they're going to need that run game to help the quarterback continue on his growth trajectory. And we have to expect that there's going to be some of these hiccups along the way, AB.
Definitely. And you heard Vrabel say, like, I need Ramondre. Like, we saw what he can do in week 2 against the Dolphins. Like, you saw him on the ground, you saw him on the air, right? Like, what he's able to do. And then you saw Gibson with the return. Like, this running back group is strong. We haven't even talked about Travion Henderson. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, there are areas of this team that can help Drake May. And even, the guy that we opened the show with, Hunter Henry. Like, what a target he is and a reliable player for Drake May. Like, let's use him more. He's best when he's out catching passes. He was breaking records last week. So, yes, I think there's so many weapons around Drake May that can help him. It's also on the coaching staff, right? You saw Drake May take a huge hit right before that drive where he ended up throwing the interception. And it's kind of like, okay, how are we going to help out our quarterback, right? Like, he's clearly going to stay in the game, a little shaken up, but maybe we run the ball. Maybe we, give him a couple other options. And so, yeah, I just think for me, it's that balance. You can't overreact and say, because we aren't in the win column, we're not 3-0. It's all on the quarterback. It's going to be a progression. And like you said, with those numbers, he has played pretty well, especially last week.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it was a gem against Miami. I think we have to remember that, and we have to remember that there's a process to all of this. I thought Josh McDaniels called a great game against the Steelers, and we saw Mike Vrabel, go check on Drake May after that hit. Of course, there are ways that they can make this easier for the quarterback. I think we're seeing some of that before our eyes. I think a lot of it just comes down to you got to hold on to the football. And then you have to remind your quarterback not to do too much, right? Which was what we saw late, with the turnover there from Drake. Let's talk about the young guys on this team because, you mentioned Travion Henderson. We saw what he can do with his speed in the preseason, obviously. We haven't seen that break out during the regular season. So is this a question of do we need to get him more involved? Is that something that, this offensive staff is going to look to do moving forward here? I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle everything with Ramondre moving forward because publicly, of course, the emphasis has been on we need to do a better job. We collectively as a team, we need to block for our running backs better. We need to make sure that they're not getting, punched out with the ball maybe as often as they were, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think what really is going to tell us though, AB, is who's the handoff go to, at 1:00 when the Patriots are starting to march down the field, with their first offensive possession against the Carolina Panthers. That's, I think, what really is going to tell us the way that Mike Vrabel and his coaches decide to handle what happened last Sunday moving forward.
Yeah, and you saw a little bit of it right in the end of that game last week. Ramondre's reps definitely got scaled down a bit, but I hope we see Travion. Like, I really do. I hope we do. This is a team that was going to run the ball by committee, and you really do need all of them, but I think there is a huge opportunity here for him to get more reps. It's just the nature of the job. Ball security is job security, right? Like, you have to be able to do that, and he's an explosive player. So I'm excited to see the Patriots potentially use him more, and I think that they will, just given the nature of what's going on. Also, it might send a message as well to your team of who you're willing to use and who you're willing to hope to step up.
Yeah. And I think, quite honestly, they're looking for anyone and everyone in that locker room to step up right now. I mean, you can see here, right? Like, I'm not trying to be funny. You have to have some tough conversations this week. Guys like Travion Henderson, Efton Chisholm, they need opportunities. The experienced starters are not producing. I don't know. I mean, you do have to give the young guys some experience out there. But I think you also have to make sure that they're ready for it, because the last thing that you want is for things to start sliding, the way that they went against Pittsburgh yet again, against a Carolina team. So you have to balance it with, are they ready to go out there? Has Chisholm shown us enough in practice that we can see him do it on the field, not the way we did in the preseason, against the, mostly threes, maybe a couple twos on the other side, but ready to do it against guys who start week in and week out in the National Football League.
Jade, I love the way Patriots fans have embraced Efton Chisholm. Like, I just love it. I think it's so fun. I think it's awesome. Is it realistic for week 4? I don't know. He hasn't played in a game yet.
Yeah.
This is a guy who they want to come and develop. But I think it's fun. Like, they're looking for a spark, clearly. But I don't think it's the wide receiver room problem. Like, this is a competitive room. You saw Kayshon Boutte step up in week 1. Mike Tomlin actually told the broadcast crew this last week that he was the wide receiver that they were preparing for. And then the Patriots go and get Stephon Diggs, and like, we haven't seen him emerge as that true take over a game wide receiver 1, but he has the most targets. You know that they're looking for him. They've definitely been very conservative, I would say, with how they've ramped him up, but I wouldn't put it on the wide receiver room. It's kind of going back to what Vrabel has been saying this week. Like, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff, and then there's the stuff that gets you beat. And right now, it's not the wide receiver room. Could Kyle Williams come in and make a difference? He's done well with the small opportunity that he's gotten. But I really don't think you can hone in too much on the young players. If you were like, yes, I'm all for Travion Henderson getting more of an opportunity there because you've seen really what he can do. But I think putting it on the other younger players is probably not the biggest problem that the Patriots have right now.
Yeah, they just need to go out there and play sound football. I mean, literally, that is the biggest problem for them right now is that they
show
need
is
to
done.
just go
We'll walk
play.
out. Jade summed it all up.
Like, we're out, right? Like, just go play a game without turning take care of the football. Be willing to be the one that takes advantage of the other team's mistakes instead of giving them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity because you're standing there, inside the 5 and you can't get the ball across the goal line. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you have to go to the very basic point of playing a clean 60 minutes of football. Like, go do that Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. That's what this Patriots team needs to do. Go
Scoring
do that.
in the red zone is a key.
Yeah. Like, don't turn the ball over. Take care of the football. When you get into the red zone, find a way to put points on the board. And the defense can go do exactly what they did last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, like if you can do that, and you're going up against a Carolina team with the opportunity to do it. So look, I mean, I understand the Carolina Panthers shut out the Atlanta Falcons last week, 30-0. It was also their first win of the season. They haven't won on the road this season. And the Patriots, by the way, New England opened as a 3.5-point favorite in this game, maybe, and now they're a 5.5-point favorite. I was looking at that going,
hey, we'll take it. We'll take it.
All right. We're going to do a little compare and contrast here because there are some interesting numbers from last year to this year that are worth taking a look at. And I also would argue that the numbers probably don't tell the entire story. So we'll get into that. Plus, we'll make some projections because, it's already Wednesday. Like, we got football coming at us tomorrow night. So we'll look ahead at some of the other games coming our way this weekend, and we'll hear from you. It is all coming your way as we continue on a Wednesday afternoon right here on Foxborough Rush. Welcome back into Foxborough Rush. This coming out of Foxborough with the plan for Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez is to, quote, ramp up his practice reps in hopes of being active on Sunday. That is what Mike Vrabel has said just a few minutes ago as he has been addressing the media there. The head coach also noted that he appreciated Gonzo's effort last week and he chose to sit him out and protect him in week 3. We've talked about this really since late July, AB, when Gonzo started to deal with the soft tissue hamstring injury. We all know that they can be nagging. You got to be careful, in terms of how you come back from them. You don't want it to be something that you re-aggravate and then find yourself sitting out an even longer period of time. So clearly that has been, the Patriots' approach to this with Christian Gonzalez. They're going to be a better team defensively with him on the field. There's no question about that. And it sounds like, ramping things up. There's certainly a better shot that he's going to be out there Sunday against Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so, right? That's what Patriots fans are hoping for. And it's kind of been wild how long really this has dragged on. And so it'll be interesting to see if that actually happens. I think there was a little glimmer of that last week. Oh, well, could he play week 3? Could he not? But this is probably the most positive report that we've gotten since the injury happened. So I would definitely expect to see him more so than we have at any point so far this season.
Yeah. So that would be a boost, for the Patriots defensively if they can get Christian Gonzalez back out there on the field against Carolina. As I mentioned, they're heavily favored. At least, look, to me, 5.5 points coming off of what we saw last weekend in Foxborough, it feels like a heavy favorite against a Carolina team that shut out their opponent. So they have their own growing pains. We all know that, and they've been trying to figure things out, with Bryce Young for a while now. We'll see what this all looks like come Sunday afternoon here in New England. But let's look backwards a little bit, just in terms of where we are comparing this regime to the regime that only lasted a single season here in New England. And I don't say that to make the comparison that this is going that direction, because I don't think that we're remotely in that ballpark. But Mike Vrabel talked a little bit about where his team is right now earlier this week. Let's listen to the head coach.
Frustrating to watch, so it must have been even more frustrating to coach that one yesterday.
Well, it's never frustrating to coach it. It's frustrating to watch it. I mean, you're in the moment and you're trying to, keep everybody together. You're trying to get some stops. You're trying to focus on the situation. So it's never frustrating to coach it. It's frustrating to watch it.
I'm sure happy with, at least from a perspective of those guys, not giving up, not getting frustrated by the turnover.
No, we can polish the turd however we want to, and just understand that you got a 5% chance to win a game where you have that many turnovers. The average margin of victory in those instances is probably 18 points, and to think that we still had a chance. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. There's stuff that's very detrimental, obviously, and we got to correct it, and we have to be able to move on. But we have to be able to coach it and acknowledge it, and then fix it.
I know after the game yesterday, when you were asked about Ramondre Stevenson, you said that you guys need to fix it when it comes to ball security. But this has been an issue for him under Bill, under Jerod, now under you. How do you fix something like that?
Well, it starts with everybody else. It starts with him, but it also starts with protecting the guy with the ball. And so we'll have to do a better job of that. If you look at the second guy coming in, or somebody else is making a play or not finishing, certainly it's easy to look at the guy with the ball, and that has to be where it starts. And our technique, but it's also it's got to be put on everybody else to make sure that they're protecting the guy with the ball, and that the guys aren't coming off of plays late and diving in there, or trying to avoid those. Just as you can see, there's times where they can make the guy miss when you can see him, and when it's the guy that you don't see, and we have to protect him from the guy that he can't see him and be able to block. So it goes on all of us. It goes on everybody out there, and then we'll keep repping it. And just unfortunate.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunate is one way to put it. But that's the message that we have heard, from Vrabel repeatedly here. You got to keep repping it, and the whole team has to take ownership. I feel like those are the two things that I have heard, on the repeat, right? Like over. It's like, got to rep it and got to find a way for the whole team to take ownership of it and make it better.
Definitely. And I think with turnovers, it's really easy for that stat to become an individual problem, and for that player to feel like it's it's all on me. The world is crashing down on you because you let your team down, you gave the ball away. And the other players this is just from my personal experience with turnovers in sports, is you don't feel the weight of that because it really wasn't you. right? You're like, hey man, you're just trying to be there to help out your teammate and make them feel better. And hey, it wasn't all on you. Don't worry. You're like, hey, no worries. Like, we got you. You have that mentality. So Vrabel is here being like, oh no. It is on all of us. It is on the other 10 guys as well out there. And yes, more importantly, it's on the ball carrier. But I think that stress to put it on everyone is mainly because of the mindset that Hunter Henry really alluded to. Like, we need to have a self-conscious awareness of the ball. Like, the ball is a physical thing. And I think it's really important because turnovers do become something that can kind of feel individual. And really what Vrabel's doing here is trying to unite his team under this massive issue that they had in week 3.
Yeah, unity is required. I mean, that's part of it, and I think we saw him walk in with that mentality, and we heard the rookies talk so much about it, right? Like, you got to know, the guy next to you, and you got to find ways to have that common ground, right? Like, we heard one of the greatest Patriots and Matthew Stafford talk about that. Not Matthew Stafford, sorry, Matthew Slater talk about that, at Julian Edelman's Hall of Fame ceremony just a couple days ago, because, he talked about them being roommates and how they're totally different in so many ways, but they found common ground. And Vrabel, I think, brought that idea and that mentality in with him when he took this job as the head coach. And we've heard the rookies talk about trying to have that common ground and build those bonds and have that relationship, because when you look at everything collectively, when you look at turnovers collectively, then all of a sudden you're going to go out there and you're going to play just this much harder. And sometimes this much is the difference maker between winning a game and losing a game. So that's something that I think has really been a point of emphasis, from the very moment that this became, Mike Vrabel's head coaching opportunity here in New England. To compare and contrast a little bit with last year, and look, I'll have these numbers put up on the screen, AB, but I would tell you here that I don't think numbers tell the whole story. I think it's when we have to go back to, math class, math 101 and statistics.
Don't take me back, Jade. That's why I'm doing podcasting. I cannot do math. Do not take me back. That's why we're here. We're here. Yeah, maybe you're not, but I'm here because of that.
They said there would be no math, right? That's always my comeback when it talks about that. But I think the one thing that we all remember is that numbers can be spun pretty much any way to tell the story that you want to tell. So I would say that we're sitting here with a very similar record and penalties, and I think we have that full screen that we can pull up here. But look, they're both sitting here at 1-2. More points allowed this season, more penalties this year. Obviously, the turnovers are glaring at this point in time. But I would tell you that this is a different team when you look at the New England Patriots this year, and that's not a knock on Jerod Mayo and what he did. I just think the way that he came in and the job that he had put in front of him, and the information that he had to lean on and build upon is very, very different than where Mike Vrabel is coming from. Both because Vrabel played elsewhere, Vrabel coached elsewhere, collegiately within the league, had different positions as a coach, worked his way up into that head coaching rank. So to me, I'm like, look, those are numbers and you can put them out there, but they're not going to tell the entire story.
I totally agree. And I think you can even hear Vrabel in that clip earlier. He's like, it wasn't frustrating to coach it. It was frustrating to watch it. Like, he knows that is not his vision for the team. And it's been very clear, just the aura that Vrabel has brought in and the control. He's been other places. He's been a coach of the year before. Like, he has that experience. And like you said, like Jerod Mayo was put into an extremely difficult situation. Being a first-time head coach, you're probably also not bringing those guys like Josh McDaniels with you, right? Because you don't have that experience. And so just thinking about Vrabel and his resume, like you talked about, if it wasn't the Patriots, it was going to be another team, right? Like somebody was going to pick him up and make him the leader of this team. And I think something else just to note, just with the fact that the numbers really might not show what the new vibe around this team is and the vision they have for long-term success, right? They got rid of captains for a reason. They got rid of guys who've been there for a reason. Like they're trying to have the money and the ability to really build this new regime. And I think something that has also stood out to me is you heard Keon White talk a little bit about this in training camp. You heard Pop Douglas a couple weeks ago say, he's out there with us. Like he's literally in the drills with us. And you can tell that means something to players. And that's just coaching styles, right? Some coaches have different coaching styles. Some of them, certain players like, others don't. Like none's better than the other. It's just kind of what you're drawn to. And it's really, really clear that the Patriot players on this team have admired how Vrabel has really gotten into the fire with them, literally.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly the training camp image of, like him jumping in and then, the blood coming down his face. Like there's, yeah. Right. I mean, there's him like running down the sideline in Miami. So look, I think that we've already have sort of these indelible imprints, if you will, of who he is as a head coach in New England. I also think that what's so significant is I would tell you that I think pretty much everybody in that locker room knows exactly where they stand with Mike Vrabel. Like I think he's very much of the, look, there is no gray area. Like this is who you are. This is where you stand. This is what I want to see from you. I think he's very communicative in that regard. And players usually respect that. I think as like most people respect that. Like I'd rather hear the truth than have you tell me half of it and then me find out the other half from somebody else. So I think that goes a long way.
No, definitely transparency, right? And I think that's something that you've seen with Vrabel, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. Yes, you're seeing Vrabel go out there and protect his players in front of the media in a very like honoring way and knowing what they've already done and referencing highlights that they've had before. But he's also holding his players accountable. And I think for a new head coach, you have to, number one, earn the respect of your players. And it has been very clear that he's done that, while also being stern and creating a hard and tough football team. Like those are two things that you have to juggle and doing it in front of the media when you're going to the podium almost every day. You're faced with tough questions. Like you need someone who is able to really face that and give answers that you're prepared for and know how to handle with how the players might respond to that as well.
Yeah. And look, I think there's the other element of this in terms of record is that as horrible as it was to watch that game on Sunday, the Patriots weren't out of it, despite the fact that they turned the ball over 5 times. So it's frustrating to watch in that regard. And we heard Vrabel talk about that. Like, yeah, it's frustrating to watch. It's not frustrating to coach. Like you're still in the game. You're trying to find ways to move the momentum and move things in a positive direction. But if they could just go out there and like fix the mistakes and go out and play some sound football, then to me, this feels like a team that will have some building blocks that are established with which they can continue to grow from.
Yeah, it's definitely about how you're losing, right? Like you're not getting shut out. Like that's great. We saw that last week. That's a plus. You also do want to have a high standard for your team with the fundamentals. And I think that's why maybe it's been a little shocking to see the amount of penalties and the amount of turnovers that the Patriots have had, because it does not line up to what Vrabel has spoken about the identity of this team. Now, you have to bet that that's what they're going to be focusing on in practice and the minute details of those things. And I think the Patriots can take heart in the bright spots and how they were able to control the ball, especially against the Steelers and holding, like, truthfully, it wasn't an incredible game for him, but you're playing Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's a feather in your cap to hold him to the points that they did. And I think there is upside in the loss. It was not a shutout like we've seen earlier. So hopefully the Patriots can work on those fundamentals and really improve them in week 4.
Yeah, we'll find out with Carolina Panthers coming to town. They got their first win of the season, of course, against the Atlanta Falcons, a game that wound up seeing, Michael Penix get benched and Kirk Cousins, come in. So we'll find out. And we'll also get to see Tetrell and McMillan in this game, which I know maybe like we've talked about him a little bit, I feel like, and he's leading rookies with 216 receiving yards in this game, 27 targets, 14 catches. It'll be interesting to see how this Patriots team handles them defensively, and which Bryce Young is here, right? I mean, I think that's a little bit too. Like he's, as great of a kid as he is, and he truly is, consistency has been certainly something that has been a struggle for him, during his career thus far in the NFL.
Definitely. And it's just good sound football, right? Like what you talked about. And maybe having your superstar in Gonzo come back, maybe that does elevate your defense in a way that you didn't even know existed, right? The Patriots still haven't even checked that out yet. We haven't even figured out, we don't even have it on tape. And neither does Carolina. I think that's the cool part too, is like we talk about, wanting to get back one of our best players to help our defense and support our team. The Patriots don't know it, but also the opponent doesn't know what it'll look like with this new regime.
Yeah. Yep. Very true. Very true. Sound football, please. Sound football. Hold on to the football. We'll see. We'll see. All right. We'll get into some predictions coming our way. As we said, Thursday night football, it's coming up. It's like almost on tap. So we'll peek at that game and some other games around the league. New stop in a new country for the National Football League as well. We'll touch on that and we'll hear from you. All that's still to come right here on Foxborough Rush. Week 4 on tap in the National Football League. And of course, it kicks off Thursday night, Seattle taking on the Arizona Cardinals. This is a significant division matchup here. Look, neither of these teams wants to be sitting there at 0-2 in the NFC West, AB. That's just not a place that you want to be. The numbers, they are not in your favor, when it comes to the postseason. If you fall to 0-2 in your own division, we hear coaches say it all the time, right? Like first thing you got to do is win your division, win your division, win your division. That is something that has proven to be very difficult for the Arizona Cardinals. And you look at their quarterback in Kyler Murray, he is 8-21 against divisional opponents. 8-21. That's just not going to cut it. So you look at this game on Thursday night and you say, is he going to be able to contend with a Seattle team that looked pretty darn good this past weekend? And and then Arizona on the other side, gosh, I mean, they lose James Conner, which obviously is just like a punch to the gut. He's just one of those guys that you have to root for no matter what team you're a fan of in this league. And he's also so much of the engine, of this Arizona offense.
Yeah, gruesome and just brutal hit for that team. The Cardinals losing Connor. You got to wonder how they're going to handle that. It's also the X's and O's of the football, but it's also just a leader on your team who goes down. Like that can either propel a team to do really well after and fight for their teammate, or it can just take you down because of the soul and the heart of your team that's been taken out. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cardinals offense really rebounds from this. And they have struggled this season so far. Like it's been the problem for their team. And you talk about the Seahawks dominance against the Saints, 44 points in their game against the Saints, an absolute smackdown. And they're doing really well on defense as well. They're holding opponents to under 17 points. So I think for this game, Thursday night football, Seahawks are on the road, but I just don't see this Cardinals offense creating enough offense and generating enough points to be able to surpass a really good Seahawks defense in the win that they're really coming off of.
Yeah, the Seahawks are the only team in the league, top 5 in scoring offense and defense. So, look, I mean, that would seem to stack up in their favor in this one. And it just still feels like Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. are trying to figure it out. And I just don't know that anybody thought that that's where they were going to be at this point, in time. It feels like it's got to get figured out. And why are we still talking about getting that figured out? Seattle going for their 8th straight win against the Arizona Cardinals. So yeah. By the way, 18 out of 187 teams, after falling into that 0-2 hole in the division that I mentioned, have made it to the playoffs. So less than 10%. So that does not bode well for one of these teams. And I'm with you. I think Seattle's going to be tough to beat for the Arizona Cardinals Thursday night. To Ireland we go. I mean, we got
Never been.
football in
Would love to go.
Ireland now. I know. I'm with you. Like, can we jump on and can we go see the Vikings take on the Pittsburgh Steelers? 9:30 Eastern time for us Sunday morning. Jade McCarthy will not make the start. It'll be Carson Wentz out there once again for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, a lot of good. And we saw his head coach and we heard, after the game, Kevin O'Connor telling him, look, I wasn't expected at all to see JJ go out there and do what he did. But hello, Brian Flores defense, right? I mean, do you expect Aaron Rodgers, who we just saw a week ago, to be able to find success with his Pittsburgh cohorts against this Vikings defense? I don't know that I do.
No, and that's why I got to go with the Vikings. And we saw firsthand, up close, what the Patriots could do against the Steelers, and they didn't even come out with the win, right? So, we're over here talking for the hour beforehand, well, how did you not pull that off? So I got to go with the Vikings on this one. Their defense is incredible, and I think you don't get a backup like Carson Wentz every day. That is a real gift that the Vikings have, to have someone with just the experience that he's had and also just the leadership that he's going to be able to provide this team in the meantime before JJ can come back. So yeah, good luck in Ireland. Would love to come if the Vikings, if I'm taking them, if they want to take me with them, I'd love to check it out.
Jump on board. Vikings 4-0 in international games. Aaron Rodgers still looking for his first win overseas in the National Football League. All right, how about the Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons, who, of course, we've mentioned because they got shut out by the Carolina Panthers, who come into Foxborough this weekend. Kind of interesting in the sense that, Atlanta fired their wide receivers coach after that game. And I mentioned earlier, Kirk Cousins came in late. Obviously, Michael Penix Jr. is, having his roller coaster moments as a young quarterback in this league as well. So an interesting move that they part ways right now with their wide receivers coach. And then on the other side of the ball, will it be Marcus Mariota out there again for the Washington Commanders? That remains a question mark. Terry McLaurin also dealing with a quad injury. So that's another question mark for this Commanders team as well, AB.
Yeah, for you to not be able to get anything going in a game, that's not just we had some turnovers, we missed some that is bad. That is really bad to get shut out the way that they did. And like you said, the Commanders are just a way better team. And regardless of whether or not Jaden Daniels will be in, Marcus Mariota played great, led them to victory last week. So I think this is a no-brainer to go with the Commanders for week 4.
Yeah, I'll take the Commanders in this one as well. I think Atlanta has a lot that they're trying to navigate at this point in time. They couldn't even get into the red zone against Carolina's defense last week. Not even into the red zone with a threat to score. Okay, New Orleans and Buffalo. All I'm going to say is the Bills are favored by 16.5. I think they might win by more than that.
Hey, I think they might too. I would love to put my money on that one. And just the intensity though too. If you're going up against the Bills, when you think the Bills, they're like royalty of the NFL. You kind of ooh, the Bills, you get a little shiver. The Saints, what they showed against the Seahawks was just a lack of intensity. The Seahawks dominated on special teams, very avoidable opportunities for the Saints not to get scored on. And so, yeah, I think this is a no-brainer to go with the Bills. So good luck, Saints.
Yeah. let's skip down to Philadelphia and Tampa Bay because obviously 2 unbeatens thus far. We saw the Eagles, come back with the crazy victory on the block kick return for a touchdown, and really hand the Rams just a punch to the gut with the way that one went down. We've seen Baker lead his team down the field late in games and find ways to win to open up the season. That just seems like the script that the Tampa Bay Bucks are writing. Who do you like in this matchup down there in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, this was a hard one for me because you saw that grit that the Bucks have, and you just see the special ability for the Eagles to just find a way. Like, come on, how on earth? Like, if I'm a Ram, like the Rams, I'm sorry that like you said, punch to the gut. But I just feel weird going against the Eagles in this game, even though they were saved by those 2 incredible special teams plays. I think for the Bucks, not having Mike Evans is a huge factor. Obviously, Baker Mayfield has other weapons, even in himself as well. But I think because of that, I got to go with the Eagles. And, they're able to turn downs, not a 1st and 10. It's going to be like a 1st and 8 because, they have that security blanket of the tush push. So I think I got to go with the Eagles in this one. And last week, Baker Mayfield was saying, hey, that game was personal for me. I still think you're going to get an aggressive and intense Baker Mayfield. But I just think without Mike Evans in this game, I got to go with the Eagles.
I don't think there's anything other than an aggressive and an intense Baker Mayfield with the way that he plays this game. He is so fun to watch. Look, I mean, the Eagles are favored in this one. It's -3.5, which is interesting because they're on the road, but they're the defending champs here. As much as they won't tell you they are. And I think what we've seen from them is just that they find ways to win games, even when it comes down to a blocked, field goal late in a game. And as uncanny as that is, they find ways to win. And, okay, Saquon's not going to run all over me. Oh, here's AJ Brown. I mean, just watching AJ Brown on the field last week and then knowing, I think, that sense of, he's like, okay, he talked about it all week. Just, okay, I'm not getting the ball, but I'm out there doing other stuff. And that sense of unity, right, that we've seen and talked about how Mike Vrabel is trying to build that here in New England. And I think the existence of that in that Eagles locker room at this point in time, it's tough to pick against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I will take them as well. We did not compare notes. I promise. We did not compare notes with our picks sitting here on a Wednesday. Lots more games. We can get to those, Friday. We still got more time. We're going to take a quick break. We'll hear from you on the other side right here on Foxborough Rush. Time to dig into the mailbag and check out what y'all have to say after 3 games into the season. So some positivity. I always like positivity. It feels nice to embrace some of that and find the bright spots looking forward. So let's do just that. This one coming from RPB Pool Guy 50. The Pats won every stat but one, the most important, turnovers. Reason to be positive. There it is. Pats had more rushing yards, passing yards, time of possession, fewer penalties, better quarterback rating, and a better defense who was put in a bad position 5 times and still had Aaron Rodgers to 21 points and did it without Gonzo. Hey, I mean, I'm not arguing with it. And like I said, AB, I like the positivity.
Listen, we need some of that, okay? We'll take it, Pool Guy 50. I don't remember your username, but thank you. And you know what? It is a feather in your cap. You're going up against a future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers. You hold him to 21 points. Like, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter if you win every other category and you still lose. It's what comes in the win and loss column at the end of the day. But hey, we'll take it. It's early in the season, so we appreciate the positivity in the mailbag this week.
Yeah. Let's put the cart before the horse. This is what James Fonts 9292 says. Let's focus on less penalties, focus on solidifying the O-line. Let's focus on winning 2 games in a row. Yeah. I mean, look, you'd like to be sitting there at, 500 before the end of September. That would certainly be a benefit to this one. And this also comes from James Font. I got another one. I think they will be a different team in the second half of the season. I don't disagree with that. I think that we've been saying this all along, and that's the sense of this is a process. And it's not always going to be a pretty process. But if this team can find a way to clean up the turnovers, clean up the penalties and some of the mistakes that they've made in the early going, then I do believe they have a chance to beat teams that don't put good football on. They just got to get out of their own way in the process of doing that.
No, they really do. And I think you look at some differences that you might see in the second half of the season. You'll see Christian Gonzalez. Maybe we'll see Stephon Diggs emerge as a guy who can really lead this wide receiver room and take over a game. But I think the big thing here is you only will look different from the first and second half of the season is if you learn from every opportunity and go out there and execute what you needed to build on, right? Like you can go through every game, but as you got to take that step to be able to improve on those fundamentals, or like you said, protecting the quarterback. I think Drake May's been sacked 12 times already this season. Like that's already way too much. So being able to progress through the season, but still loving the positivity that we have here. Let's keep it rolling on Foxborough Rush on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I like it. Cam Ward is the only quarterback who has been sacked more than Drake May this season. And I am sure that Drake would love to find a way to be upright more often. It certainly makes his job easier. And look, he's the franchise quarterback here in New England. Like, let's please keep him upright, keep him healthy, so this team can hopefully lean into the positives and find ways to grow from a game that they would all like to put behind them. And I think that's, part of the incentive going into this weekend, right? Like, get that behind you, go out there, play a clean 60 minutes of football against the Carolina Panthers, and then see where you're at. And I think that just has to be point of emphasis number one. We're going to talk more about it come Friday afternoon, so be sure to hang out with us then on Foxborough Rush, coming at you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, as always. ABL, see you soon.
Woo, see you Friday. Let's go.
Enjoy the football tomorrow night.